JSS Mahaswamiji and to the Sutturu Guru Parampara, I welcome you all to this special program of International Webinar on Yoga, which is being organized by the Department of PG Studies in Swasthavritta of JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Mysuru, Karnataka, India, which is being organized on the eve of International Day of Yoga 2021. There are many days, I can say, which we celebrate in the calendar year. I would like to say that there are only 2 days which are very special and which we celebrate for ourselves. One is definitely our birthday, and the second one should be the International Day of Yoga or the Day of Yoga. If you ask me why, because this yoga keeps us healthy physically as well as mentally and make us celebrate many birthdays in the coming year by being healthy. With this, let's begin this program with an auspicious touch by seeking the blessings of Lord Saraswati, for which I would like to invite our alumni from today onwards, Dr. Lavanya, for the invocation. Dr. Lavanya, please.
नमो निनगे नमो ताये शारदे महाकाली महालक्ष्मी नीने श्री सरस्वती नमो ताये शारदे दिटवु ताये ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನೇರ ಮಾರ್ಗದಿ ಸಾಗುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಹೆಳವರಂತೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿಹೆವೆ ಕೋಪದಿ ತಾಯೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನ್ನಿಸುತ್ತ ಧರ್ಮದತ್ತ ಸೇರಿಸು ತಾಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನ್ನಿಸುತ್ತ ಧರ್ಮದತ್ತ ಸೇರಿಸು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡದಂತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ರಕ್ಷಿಸು ನಮೋ ನಿನಗೆ ನಮೋ ತಾಯ ಶಾರದೆ ಮಹಾಕಾಳಿ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ನೀನೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ನಮೋ ತಾಯ ಶಾರದೆ ನಮೋ ತಾಯ ಶಾರದೆ ನಮೋ ತಾಯ ಶಾರದೆ ನಮೋ ತಾಯ ಶಾರದೆ.
Thank you, Dr. Lavanya. You have set up a right tone to begin this program. It's our duty, and I would like to say it as an honor, to welcome all the guests and gathering to this program, International Webinar, for which I request Dr. Sudhakar Reddy sir, Organizing Secretary of this International Webinar, Professor and HOD, Department of Swasthavritta and Yoga of our college, to welcome everyone. Over to you, sir.
Om Sri Dhanvantari Namaha, Om Patanjali Namaha. Very good morning to one and all. My humble pranamas to the lotus feet of His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, respected dignitaries, faculty members, and all the participants. I am privileged to welcome you all to International Webinar on Yoga 2021. As saying goes, Dharmartha Kamamokshanam Arogya Moolamritamam. The Arogya or health is the root cause for attaining Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Also, we know that Yoga Moksha Pravartakaha. That means ultimate aim of both Ayurveda and Yoga is to attain Moksha. On this occasion, I can say we are all fortunate to study both Ayurveda and Yoga for practice purpose. The art of practice of Yoga helps in controlling individual's mind, body, and soul. It brings together physical, mental disciplines to achieve a peaceful mind and soul. With this background, the theme for the International Day of Yoga 2021 chosen as Yoga for Unity and Well-being. In this connection, on behalf of institution, we from the Department of PG Studies in Swasthavritta and Yoga is organizing a series of events like webinars and competition on Yoga Mudra through online. Today, we have organized first event as International Webinar on Yoga. On this inaugural function, we have with us our chief guest, Sri R. Mahesh sir, Director, Medical Exam Division, JSS Mahavidyapita Mysore, a dynamic force behind all these activities in our institution. Your esteemed presence on this occasion is highly acknowledged, sir. And on behalf of the institution and Department of Sastavruta and Yoga, I voluntarily welcome you, sir. Welcome.
Namaste.
The guest of honor for inaugural session is Dr. Radhakrishna Ramarao, Principal, Government Nachapati and Yogic Science College, Mysore, a man of humbleness and simplicity, a great academician who accepted our invitation in his busy schedule of COVID-19 duties. My hearty welcome to you, sir. For this international webinar, we have eminent speakers across the globe who will share their knowledge to the participants. Dr. Arpan Bhatt, sir, from Jamnagar, welcome you, sir. Dr. Manya Sharma, Sjsamc, Bengaluru. Dr. Kashinath Samagandi, Jaipur. Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar, Moscow, Russia. My heart welcome to you all, sir. Thank you. I also welcome Dr. Vanitha V. Shetty, who will be chief guest for today's valedictory function. I extend my warm welcome to our beloved principal, sir, for the today's president of this function, and his activities and continuous efforts in bringing developmental activities in the college and hospital. Welcome you, sir. I'm happy to welcome a co-convener of this webinar and also Dean Dr. Rajesh A. Vadapudi, sir. Welcome you, sir. I welcome all members of Organizing Committee of Department of Sastavruta and Yoga to this webinar. My hearty welcome to all faculty members, PG students, internees, and UG students to this program. I'm happy to welcome both AAOs of college and at hospital to this program. I also welcome UG coordinator and PG coordinator to this webinar. I welcome Dr. Madhusudan, who is instrumental in smooth conduction of this program. Once again, welcome you all. Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy, sir. On behalf of all present here, I welcome you wholeheartedly to this program. Welcome to you, sir. It's time we get to know what this program is, what is the day-long webinar, how it will be conducted, and all that. For which I welcome the co-convener of today's program and Dean of our college, Dr. Rajesh A. Vadapudi, sir, to brief about the webinar. Please.
Namaste. Om Shri Shivratri Sharanama. Good morning to everyone. The Department of Sastavruta and Yoga has organized one-day international webinar. The theme Yoga for Unity and Well-being. These two, unity and well-being, is very, very important in this pandemic. And we are having 4 guest speakers who are the eminent stalwarts of the fraternity. From morning up to afternoon, we are having 4 sessions. So at 10:30 morning, Dr. Arpan Bhatt, Professor and HOD, Department of Sastavruta and Yoga, SGAM, ITRA Jamnagar, who is going to deliver a talk on Yoga for Unity and Well-being. And by 11:30, Dr. Manjunatha Sharma, Pro Vice Chancellor, Director in Research, Sjsamc, Bengaluru, is going to deliver talk on evidence-based research in yogic science, which is need of hour. Everybody says about yogic, research-based. And by afternoon 2 o'clock, Dr. Kashinath Samagandi, Associate Professor, Department of Sastavruta and Yoga, NIA Jaipur, is going to deliver a talk on effect of yoga on respiratory system. Because in this pandemic, many people are suffering with the respiratory. We thought to have this topic. And by 3 p.m., Dr. K.V. Dilip Kumar, Dean, Faculty of Ayurveda, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow, is going to talk on topic Smriti meditation techniques. Yeah, Smriti, Dhi Dhriti Smriti. So Smriti meditation techniques. So 4 resource persons are going to fulfill the knowledge feast of everyone. I hope everyone will encash the knowledge from these stalwarts. With these words, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's time we hear from our chief guest, Shri R. Mahesh, sir. Before which I welcome Dr. Deepasi Patil, UG coordinator and professor, to introduce Mahesh, sir, to all the gathering. Madam, please.
Namaste. Good morning, everyone. Seeking the blessing of His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Shivratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, myself, Dr. Deepasi Patil, UG Coordinator, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, is privileged to introduce our today's chief guest, Shri R. Mahesh, Director of Medical Education, JSS Mahavidyapita. Sir, after completing his MBA graduation, joined JSS Administration Service in 2004, and he worked in various departments of JSS Mahavidyapita. Sir is actively involved in all the activities of JSS Mahavidyapita and other sister concerned institutions. Sir is the nodal officer for JSS Spiritual Mission and other rehabilitation projects. Sir guided us in various programs and is the captain of the ship for us in conducting various programs in our college. Sir is the guiding force for all our academic venture to be conducted in a very systematic and best way. Presently, Sir is Director of Medical Education Division, JSS Mahavidyapita, for past 13 years. I welcome you, sir. Sir, over to you, sir, for the guest speech.
Seeking the blessings of His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Shivratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, today's guest of honor, Dr. Radhakrishna, Principal of the Government Naturopathy College, Mysore, Dr. Sarvesh Sharkar, Principal, JSS Ayurveda Medical College, faculty members, the resource persons, and also the students. I'm very happy to participate in this international webinar. On the eve of the International Yoga Day, JSS Ayurveda Medical College Swastarutta Department is organizing this webinar, international webinar, for the benefit of the students and also the other faculty members and also the research. As Dr. Rajesh Urpudi has introduced, they have invited the very good international speakers also for this webinar. So it is going to serve the purpose, how the research has to contribute for the Ayurveda and yoga. Due to this pandemic, even including the last year, we used to have the webinars and also the conferences on internet, because learning should not stop. Even though pandemic has started in the last year, March itself, the classes has been started for the students online, even including the internal assessment, and few of the courses we have conducted the exams online itself. But for the faculty members, also we had a few of the programs online and also the webinars and also the workshop for the faculty members. During this International Yoga Day, which is going to be celebrated on June 21st, we don't know whether we are going to celebrate this year also offline or online, because last year also we have celebrated this International Yoga Day online itself. So on this eve, I congratulate the Swastarutta Department for organizing this program and inviting the international resource people who are going to deliberate on the yoga and also on the research, which we are facing a problem in this respiratory issues. They have covered, they have selected a good topics. I think it is going to be beneficial for the students and also the faculty members. I wish all the best and congratulate the team for organizing this program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all your best wishes and the support you give us all the year long and all the programs we conduct and support you give to us. Thank you again, sir, from all of us here. It's time to hear from the guest of honor, today's guest of honor, our Radhakrishna, sir. Before that, I would like to invite Dr. Shalini, Assistant Professor, Department of Swastarutta, to introduce Radhakrishna, sir, to all who are present here. Over to Dr. Shalini.
Namaste. Good morning, all. With pranamas to his feet, His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Shivratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, and to the Sutturu Guru Parampara. Myself, Dr. Shalini, Assistant Professor from the Department of PG Studies in Swastavrata and Yoga. I am extremely proud and privileged to introduce you all to my favorite guru and guru of many from GMC Mysore, who is today's guest of honor, Dr. K.S. Radhakrishna Rama Rao, fondly known as Radhakrishna Sir. Sir is the son of late K.S. Rama Rao and late Shanta. Sir did his BMS during 1984 to 89 from Mysore University and perceived MD degree in Dravya Guna during 1989 to 1992 from Bangalore University. Sir has been serving government since 28 years in various posts as assistant professor, associate professor, and professor in all the government colleges of Karnataka, that is Government Ayurveda College, Bellary, Mysore, and Bangalore. Presently, Sir is serving as head of the institution, principal of Government Nature Cure and Yoga Medical College and Teaching Hospital, Mysore. Sir has served as NSS officer during 1995 to 97 and organized several camps. Sir was a guest speaker in Dirgayu 2005 state level conference and also was a chairperson at National Seminar on Healthy Lifestyle in 2013. Dr. Radhakrishna Rama Rao was coordinator for 2 days international workshop Ayurveda Chintana Mantana during 2013. Sir has published article on sexual dysfunction in obesity by an observational study in International Journal Ancient Science of Life in September-October 2013. Sir served as Nodal Officer, SCP, TSP, State Government Program and conducted more than 250 medical camps during 2014 to 2020 in rural areas of Mysuru, Chamarajnagara, Udupi, Hasan, and Madikeri. Sir furnished as organizing secretary in Mulika Dasara and Chandravanotsava during 2014 to 2015 and 2015 to 2016. Sir organized state level yoga competition 2015 as organizing secretary conducted by Rajiv Gandhi University. Sir was a drug inspector during 2019 and 20 in Tumkur, Kolar and Chikballapura jurisdiction. Sir is the member board of studies, Goa University. He also served as honorary head of Charaka Post Graduation Center, KRS Road, Mysore. Sir involved in organizing CME, ROTP programs for Ayush doctors regarding Mane Maddu. Sir has participated in various national level workshops, conferences, seminars, CME, and ROTP programs. Sir is also a great cricketer who is ever enthusiastic to play and also a prolific carom player who has won first prize in the state level inter-college collegiate Ayurveda carom competition in 1988 to 89. Sir is the most humble, ever charming, sportive, student-friendly, motivating personality and dearest teacher for many of us, including me. I personally and all present here by online and offline are very eager to listen from you, sir. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you to the address the gathering. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Respected Shri R. Mahesh sir, Director, JSS Medical Institutions, Dr. Sarveshkar, Principal of JSS Ayurveda Medical College, Dr. Sudhakar Reddy, Head of the Department, Swastavrata, JSS Mysore, Dr. Madhusudan, and today's resource persons and all the participants. First, I congratulate Swastavrata Department of JSS Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital for organizing this international webinar on yoga. I think Corona pandemic has given us many challenges and opportunities. Webinar is one of the platform and opportunity given to us to upgrade our skills and our knowledge at our doorsteps and getting an opportunity to interact with the stalwarts of yoga. It is also an opportunity to interact with the giants of yoga and get rare experience with the usage of technological platform. I personally feel that it is a type of Tadvidya Sampasha, and definitely student fraternity will more benefited. This type of activity will definitely bring back glory of yoga and Ayurveda, and also help us to develop yoga globally. As you are aware of the corona pandemic, and the whole world is looking towards India for a magical miracle intervention. The intervention needs a remedy, and I think the stalwarts of Ayush will definitely come out with the magical solution. I congratulate the principal and the staff of JSS Mysuru for arranging an international webinar on yoga, because yoga is a holistic and integral science of life, dealing with the physical, mental, and spiritual pursuits to achieve harmony of the body and mind. Yoga is almost a 5,000-year-old tradition from India, which helps to attain inner peace and known for disease prevention, health promotion, and management of many lifestyle-related disorders. Worldwide acceptance of yoga is a matter of pride for our country, as yoga is an integral part of our cultural heritage. In this occasion, I stress upon to work not only for corona, but also on the other areas. We should focus on the area in which there is no remedy in the current science. As you are aware of the fact that 21st June is celebrated as the International Day of Yoga across the globe since 2015, with an objective to bring awareness about the health benefits of yoga and its several practices. Ministry of Ayush approved yoga protocol for primary prevention of COVID-19 with the objective of reducing stress and anxiety, to improve respiratory and cardiac efficiency, and to enhance immunity. For many of us, the COVID-19 pandemic-led lockdown period was a tough time. It is certainly affected our mental space and peace of mind. About 4 to 10 weeks long lockdown was less stressful for yoga practitioners, which was reported by IIT Delhi researchers. And this study has shown that yoga can help to provide physical and mental health well-being. I think organizers have designed the webinar based on the above inputs, and this type of congregation will definitely benefit to all the stakeholders of yoga and Ayurveda, and such attempts of skill enhancement techniques will make our dream of Sarve Santu Niramaya a reality. I once again thank the principal, Dr. Sarveshkar, and faculty members, Dr. Udupudi, Sudhakar Reddy, Dr. Madhusudan, and all the organizers for giving me opportunity to participate in the webinar. And I wish all the success for the webinar on yoga, and congratulations to all of you. In this occasion, I would like to remember contribution of Dr. Guru Basavaraj, faculty of JSS in the field of yoga. We, Government Naturopathy and Yoga College and JSS Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya and Government Ayurveda Medical College, we will join hands together to fight against this pandemic. Yoga and Ayurveda is the answer for the pandemic, and we will work together with the, definitely we will get the success in near future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your encouraging words, and maybe I would call it as a solution for the ongoing pandemic, which you have invited us to join hands with the other colleges of Mysore. I am sure you will be happy to join for us. It's time for the presidential address, for which I request our principal, Dr. Sarveshwarkar sir, for the presidential address. Sir, please.
Namaste to all of you. surrendering and seeking the blessing of His Holiness Jagat Guru Shivratri Deshikandra Mahaswamiji, Sikhetra Sutur, and all these Guru Paramparas of Sikhetra Sutur. Surrendering and seeking blessing of Param Puja Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Gurudev, Heart of Limb, Bangalore, and also surrendering and seeking the blessing of Dharmadhikari Sri Birendra Hegdeji. I have the privilege to be part of this auspicious program, which is dealing for the life. At the outset, most respected and our dynamic force for all these activities and what we are today, Honorable Director Sri Maheshji. Sir, we should have with you in this in offline. It is the time which is made us to greet you over the online. However, our senior, all the senior faculties are here, sir. They have all listened to you. Thank you very much for joining us and giving a valuable time. Today's guest of honor, one of the eminent personalities in Ayurveda and Yoga, and always a good well-wisher. Such a dynamic person. When I used to meet in the government college during my tenure in 9 years, past 9 years, when I was serving at JSS, I could be able to meet Radhakrishnan sir frequently in the Mysore college. And what a dynamic, as your own student said that you are a great cricketer, sir. So also it is very obvious when we met you earlier occasions. Thank you, sir. Most respected, you have joined and you have motivated us. And our speakers, the learned resource persons across the globe, what Dr. Sudhakar Reddy has made a knowledge feast. It is called by Dean side as a knowledge feast, and not that it's a knowledge feast. It is feast for the life, because we should be healthy. Dr. Arpan Bhattaji, Dr. Manjunath Sharma ji, SBAS Bangalore, and our own product from Karnataka, Dr. Kasinath Samangandi, hail from Karnataka. We are proud of you from NIA. Dr. KV Dilip Kumarji from Moscow, and to be joined in the valedictory, Honorable Madam Principal Dr. Banita Sethi. Other senior faculties, Dr. Siddesh Aradhamat, Dr. Jairajji, Dr. Miti sir, Dr. Sangango Patil, Dr. Uday sir, and all other faculties present here. This occasion, Ayurveda and Yoga, we are in Ayurvedic college, we are speaking about yoga and meditations, because this is two sides of the coin, or two eyes of a human being. That's the way the Ayurveda and Yoga exist. And the department so. Since 7th year, this is we are 7th year or 7th occasion, we are going to have the international webinar. We are going to celebrate on 21st of June. So this, according to the Ayush Ministry guideline, within this month, they have guided us to propagate and to celebrate, made some programs which could be beneficiary for the next generation, the knowledge seekers. Keeping in that mind, under Dr. Sudhakar Reddy's leadership and his team, vibrant team, we have decided that to conduct few programs. Honorable Director sir and Honorable Guest of Honor sir, I want to share with you proudly. We have started already one add-on course for our first year students, that is yoga and meditations. Yesterday was our inauguration. Honorable Vice Chancellor for SBAS, Professor B.R. Ramakrishnaji has inaugurated. The course is designed for the first year students. Those are at home. You have spoke about the opportunities this pandemic has given. So this opportunity we are utilizing for the first year students, because second year onwards the yoga and meditation courses or classes are available. Therefore, we have designed this course for the first year students, and it was inaugurated yesterday. Every day, 1 hour, our yoga teachers from the Department of Swasthya and Yoga, expertise, Madam Opana Madam is going to train our students at their home. Also, I requested the students, parents, and their brothers, sisters also can be part of this yoga and meditation add-on course training program. Sir, also with your noble guidance, we have started Sanskrit Shivira. 4 days before we have started this program for the first year once again, because this is our heritage. This is our language of all the languages, and a phenomenon of understanding Ayurveda. We have started also Sanskrit Shivira classes, training classes from Sanskrit Bharati, All India chapter. There are 3 expertise there with our Dr. Shruti's cooperation and guidance, our own teacher. Sanskrit classes Shivira is started. That's again going for the 10 days. So students, though at home, they have been engaged for the Sanskrit Shivira and also yoga meditation training classes. Also, sir, with your guidance, we are looking now immediately to bring one more concept of just like yoga and meditation. Similarly, Dr. Radhakrishnan sir, we are also bringing healthy diets concepts. We are bringing healthy diet concepts, healthy diet for good health. That's the concept is coming up. We have designed it. Healthy breakfast, healthy drinks. The students at home, they are going to prepare this, and they'll be knowing about what exactly the healthy diet is for the Ayurvedic concepts. And that they are going to have a small videos. They are going to send it here. That will be evaluated, and the best 10 persons, students, those have been really, they have done it well. They could be also felicitated in. This is our 25th year celebration. We are going to start shortly, probably. That has to instruct us. This month or next month, they are going to be well felicitated. This is the program in our hand. Also for the teacher and consultant, with noble guidance of our honorable director, we started drugs update. Drugs update we started, sir. It was inaugurated day yesterday. We started with Sri Tattva of Art of Living, Bangalore. Another in the Thursday, that is on 2nd of June, Kotagala is joining. We are also joining Dupa Peshar, followed by a few more industries also going to join with this knowledge transferring program, which is guided by our Dr. Shiprasad Hude, the GMP, in charge of our institutions. So we are also looking that in Chatuspada Chikisha, the Dravya Pada, the drug concept and competent of drugs also to be available to the hand of our own consultant. Therefore, we started drugs update. So these are the few programs we are time to time we are adding with the novel guidance of our honorable director. This today's program, I hope it will go beyond the expectation, because the guest speakers are quite dynamic, and they are all luminaries in their own field. And once again, our department of PG Studies in Swasthavaruta, led by Dr. Sudhakar Reddy, is an example of other institutions. He led from the front, and so also their staff members. Congratulations to all of you for having this, honestly having this program of diversity, that is yoga for unity and well-being. Hope this program will be, come out with a nice note. I congratulate the department people. Also, I compliment all the UGs and PG scholars joining across the globe for this Nobel program. Once again, I thanks my noble and humble submission. Thanks to Honorable Director, and my also gratitude to the Honorable Director and our Executive Secretary, Sri Betsul Marji. With this, I conclude my humble submission to this great program. Thank you very much. Namaste, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the presidential address. It's time to thank everyone responsible for the smooth conduction of the program, and for responsible for the whole day which is being organized, for which I request Dr. Aparna Surendra, Senior Physician, to render vote of thanks. Madam, please.
Good morning, one and all. I sincerely render my thanks to our Honorable Director, Shri R. Mahesh Sir, for addressing this occasion as chief guest and supporting us. I render my sincere thanks to Dr. Radhakrishna Rao, Principal, Government Naturopathy and Yoga College, Mysuru, for accepting our invitation and participating in our webinar. I also wholeheartedly thank our beloved principal, Dr. Sarbeshwar sir, who is the backbone of all our academic and clinical programs. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Rajesh Udupudi for addressing the gathering and supporting us. And he has been always a moral support as a dean. I also thank our HOD sir, Dr. Sudhakar Reddy, for the guidance and initiation taken in this program. I thank Dr. Madhusudan, who is helping us technically, and Dr. Deepa Patil for the support as UG coordinator. I thank all the faculties, online and offline, of our institution for the support given to us in conducting the inauguration of this webinar. I also thank all the UG students and PG students online, all the internees, and AAO of our hospital and college, Mrs. Nandita Shanai and Mr. Vikas Nandi, for the support given to us in conducting the webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you all. With this, we come to the end of inaugural session, and I'm happy to announce that we are beginning with the scientific sessions now. Scientific session, the first scientific session will be addressed to all of us by Dr. Arpan Bhatt. And before the session starts, I would like to welcome Dr. Vidyashri, first year PG scholar, Department of Swasthata and Yoga, to introduce Dr. Arpan Bhatt to all the gathering. Dr. Vidyashri, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, all. Pranamas to His Holiness Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, Sri Mata Sutturu. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Arpan Bhatt, sir, for today's session. Sir is the professor and head of the Department of Swasthata and Yoga at Sri Gulan Varba Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar, and he is also a chairman of the Drugless Spiritual Healing Center and Health Counseling Center of the department. He has rendered his services as the first deputy director of Institute for Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, principal of Sri Gulab Kun Varba Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, and director and principal of Maharshi Patanjali Institute for Yoga Naturopathy Education and Research of the Gujarat Ayurveda University, project director, Department of Projects, GAU, and program director of Advanced Center for Yoga Education and Research at GAU Jamnagar. He is the member of the Governing Council and Academic Committee of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Ministry of Ayush, New Delhi, a member of Assessment Committee of Yoga Certification Board, and was a member of the Academic Committee for Yoga and Naturopathy under the NBPYN, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. He is the Executive Committee member, Gujarat Yogasana Sports Association. He was a member and convener of Board of Studies at GAU Jamnagar and various other universities of India in the subjects of Swasthata and Yoga. He has been a jury member of the National Yoga Olympiad for school children under Ministry of Human Resource Development Goal and national or international jury for My Life, My Yoga video blogging contest. He is an adjudicator of PhD thesis to various universities. Being a subject expert for Swasthata, Yoga, Nisargopachara, music and music therapy, he is in the advisory committee of many leading institutions like CYTER Sri Balaji Vidyapita, Puducherry, Samutkarsha Academy for Yoga, Music and Holistic Living, Ahmedabad, and Leelavati Nature Cure and Yoga Research Center, Jamnagar, to name a few. He has 17 publications under his authorship or co-authorship, which include e-learning modules, booklets, and monographs. Some are in the process. He has more than 35 authored and co-authored papers and have guided approximately 60 applied and clinical research dissertations in yoga and naturopathy. He has participated in more than 80 seminars, conferences, symposia, etc. on international or national regional platforms in various capacities. He is a referee and reviewer in IU International, a peer-reviewed and listed magazine published by IPGT and RA GAU Jamnagar, and has been review editor for Yoga Mimansa, Kaivalya Dama Lonwala. He is chief editor of Yoga Vritta magazine of ACYER GAU. He has visited Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on invitation from the Ministry of Health, Brazil, for delivering guest lectures at the international conferences Congrefix 2018, Lisbon, Portugal on invitation from the Portugal Yoga Federation for promotion of music and yoga at World Yoga Day 2013, and some places of United Kingdom for promotion of Indian music and arts through Indo-British Cultural Exchange in 1988. He is the life member of Indian Yoga Association, Academy for Ayurveda Development and Research, Indian Musicological Society, Hallar Vaidya Sabha, organizations working towards the preservation and promotion of Indian sciences, arts, and culture. I request sir to take over the session. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, fine. So there is somebody who is still in the waiting room. Can you please manage to admit them?
I'm doing, sir. I'm doing.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can I share my screen if it is possible?
Yes, sir. Please, sir, do it.
I think the screen is visible now.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay, so first of all, please pardon the look I have. It's because of the lockdown and all the saloons and everything are closed. So this is the lockdown look I am having at present. Namaste and good morning to all the dignitaries on the online dais, and also all those who are at their homes and at their respective places. We would like to start, with your permission, with some shlokas and remembering the Almighty, if you all permit. So here on the screen, you will be seeing two pictures and two shlokas. One happens to be Lord Dhanvantari and another one is Sage Patanjali ji. So may I ask you all to be seated straight in your place, wherever you are, and uncross the legs if you have crossed them. If you are sitting on the ground and with crossed leg, it doesn't matter. But if you are sitting on the chair with crossed leg, kindly uncross them and sit relaxed with straight back. If possible, make Dhyana Mudra with your fingers and thumbs. This is what I'm showing you on screen if you can. And then the palms facing the ceiling, put your hands on your thighs. Gradually close your eyes, please. Try to breathe in as deep as you can and breathe out as long as you can. Focusing on the vital breath which goes in and the air which is blown out of your body. Between your eyebrows, try to focus on the deities you worship or the revered figure, maybe your spiritual master or your guru or somebody whom you respect the most. Having their presence before us, let us start the prayer with a deep in-breath. Ragadirogan satatanushaktan asheshakaya prasrutanasheshan Autsukya moharatidan jaghana Yopurva Vaidyaya namostu tasmai Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena Yopakarottam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gradually releasing the mudra of your hand, bringing your palms together, rubbing them with each other. Place the palms, making a cup of them on your eyes, moving the palms on your forehead, head, on the neck, on the shoulders, and on the body. Gradually, peacefully, lovefully open your eyes and please come back to this mundane world. So, at the onset, I would like to thank the organizers for having me here with you all and along with my colleagues, Dr. Manjunath ji, Dr. Kashinath ji, and Dr. Dilip Kumar ji, who are still going to speak and are all sharing the same dais. Dr. Sudhakar Reddy particularly, who has taken a lot of pain in pursuing me always and asking things from me and making it possible and feasible for me to attend this wonderful location. So thanking you all and all those who are present over here, along with the students, because without them, we are nothing. Actually, the students are the gurus in real sense. The topic which I am going to talk about today, or which has been entrusted to me, happens to be what is the theme of this particular 7th International Day of Yoga, unity and well-being particularly. And how can yoga be a tool, or yoga be one of the aspects which can induce unity and well-being in the people around? So I'll be sticking to those aspects which lead towards this. Okay, so we all know this, when we go to Rig Veda, when we go to Yajurveda also, Hari Amma Sahasri Rekha Purga Sahasraksha Sahasrapata Sabhom Bhiggo Sarvatas Pritva Dashangulam. We all know that mighty, manifold being which came before Arjuna during Mahabharata, particularly at the time of Kurukshetra fight. And we also know this Vedokta concept of Ekoham Bahusyam, I am alone, so I must generate like me, the beings like me, and because of that, this whole creation started. These are our beliefs. Even when we talk about embryological development of a human, it is just from a single zygote or one cell that the complex human being like we are generated. Now, even when we are talking about it, we all know about the evolution that gradually we started learning, we started becoming civilized. And you see there are two pictures over here. One shows the aspect of evolution, which also incorporates different aspects with which a human being is involved in his daily life. And at the same time, you see underneath that the population of the world has grown multifold since the time it started being populated. And the more we become, the more diversity enters. So when we talk about human, what we all want health, wealth, and happiness. And the same thing has been stated by our classics as well, when the Sanskrit verse says, Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha dharmena hinaha pashubhih samana. So ahara, nidra, bhay, and maitun, these are the basic four instincts which are very common amongst the animate beings, which are in humans as well. But it is the code of conduct which makes humans different. And then when we talk about activities or why we are over here, the Purushartha Chatushtaya, as we also have studied in our Ayurvedic classics, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Dharmartha, Kama, Mokshanam, Arogyam Moolam Uttamam. So health is the prime aspect which needs to be looked upon when we want to achieve all these things. Now, the background is that existence is the biggest test for the mankind. The age-old rule, which is survival of the fittest, still rules the world, even in this 21st century when we are talking about. So, in order to survive, one has to do something. In order to do anything, one must prepare, perform, and deliver. This situation makes them interact with each other because man is a social animal. And when social animals get together, then it becomes a society. This is where the concept of unity or diversity plays its role when we talk about man to man or from person to person interrelationships. When it comes to a person alone, so when we talk of interpersonal and intrapersonal relationship, then the coordination of different systems in a human body also needs to be working in good coordination, because one aspect of unity happens to be good coordination amongst each other as well. So if we look at Rig Veda, even at that time, we had this prayer for unity, Sangachadvam, Samvadadvam, Samvomanasi Janatam, Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sanjanana Upasate. We all know this prayer, so I am not going into the prayer, but I just wanted to point towards the dimensions which have been talked over there. Moving, that means staying together and doing something. Then speech, Samvadadvam. Then comes the unity of the mind, then comes the intentions, then comes the aspirations, then comes the purpose. That means that there were all these aspects which were already known to our ancestors, that it is quite possible that there will be diversities in these all aspects, and therefore they have told that we need to have unity in all these, or at least one coordinated or collaborative aspect, so that we can prosper and move ahead together. Now, from that time to this, when we say that all those analytical aspects have increased gradually, and we have been able to chart out what we are really thinking or what we are really talking about, we have come across various aspects of diversity. Because in order to think about unity, we need to first think about what diversity is, or where diversity is possible. Because until and unless we think about the aspects or the sectors where diversities are possible, we cannot think of the unity, or we cannot think on those lines. So when I think of me, myself, then there are certain aspects where different or differences between individuals are possible. The cognitive aspect, the physical aspect, the aspect of the values, the societal aspect, the occupational aspects, and the relational aspects. Then there are various subheads in all those aspects. Now, when we talk of cognitive, how we think and process the information, now this will be different in different individuals, depending on so many other aspects. So when we talk of cognitive, we talk of thinking, learning, interpersonal skills, communication, then introvertedness or extrovertedness, the intelligent quotients or the emotional quotient of that person. When we talk of physical, then who we are and what others think they are. Now, this is where, difference comes, like why I am so thin, why other is so fat, why I am not so musculated, why the other one is so robust and musculated, etc., etc. Now, these aspects gradually cause big barriers which are related with regards to the diversities, and because of that, matching up of or patching up of one person with another can be hindered. So in physical dimensions, age, gender identity, race of the person, physical abilities, sexual orientation, mental abilities, appearance of the person, etc., etc., are very common. Just as that person is fair, then that person is black, that person is tall, that person is dwarf, that person is young, that person is old, etc., etc. And because of that, the divergences take place, which breaks the aspect of unity. So in order to bring unity, we need to do something so that all these things could be trespassed or overlooked. Then when we talk about the values, what we believe and what we feel are the aspects. So beliefs, practices, convictions, attitudes, personality of a person, religion one follows, the spiritual attributions, the culture one comes from, etc., etc., are the aspects which can differentiate one person from another. In societal aspects, how we connect and relate with the society, the economic aspect, political, social, the language, the origin, education, geographical aspects, and also the social class. And these all things, if we just focus on in our day-to-day life, if we focus within our working sphere, if we focus amongst the students we are teaching, because we are in teaching institutions, then also we will find these differences. So these small differences, at times we overlook. But at times, these differences become a major issue. Then comes the occupational, how we work and what we do. So what occupation one is having, the work experience, the department or the division, the industry, the tenure, the affiliation of one's industry to other or one's organization to others, the status or the level of the organization, the role and the function of the person, And when it comes to the relational aspect, how we relate ourselves to others, the family status, parental status, marital status, recreational status, personal behavior, habits, generation, and partner. Now, these are so many wide aspects which we have in our day-to-day life. And then after the aspects, can somebody allow those people in the waiting room, please? It is blocking my view of these slides. Dimensions of the diversity, if we look into in general: gender, ethnicity, ability, age, sexual orientation, and race. These are 6 dimensions which describe the diversities. And again, there are subtopics in these things. In short, what I wanted to say is that whatever angle of a living person you can think about, you can think about one diversity. There can be differences, and we all have to learn to live together with all those differences in maybe one family, in one society, in one organization, in one city or town, in one state, in one nation, in one world. This is the aspect of unity. Maybe our classics have stated Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, when you talk of Kutumba or a family, in one family there are so many people and they have so many differences with each other, but still the family is a good family which sticks together even in the hardest of the calamities, just as we are having right now, the pandemic we are facing right now, and we are seeing the aspects of diversity as well as we are seeing this aspects of unity at present. So if this diversity is to be converted to unity, there are some aspects which we can think about. That the first thing, diversity is always going to be there because every individual is different. It can be between the people, it can be between the perspectives, it can be between the cultures, it can be between so many things. Then, in order to decrease this diversity, we need to have some aspects of equity. That if we can craft the policies, if we can follow the policies in practice, and if we can have that in position, the rules which can equalize all beings, then we can decrease this diversity and we can move towards the unity. And then comes the inclusion. Here we need to accept that people can be different, people can have different opinions, people can have different cultures, people can have different colors, people can have different thoughts, but still there is one thing in common which we all have, and that is the consciousness. So these are such aspects which are related with the science of yoga. And the other aspect which I am going to talk about is wellness. So here I am not talking about yoga much because the aspects which we have talked about, unity, the social, the physical, the mental, the occupational, etc., they all are also again the part of the aspect of well-being too, because if you are being disturbed by the diversity, you will not be able to unite. So that is not the aspect of wellness. So when we are talking about well-being or wellness, then we have to understand the diversity and prepare ourselves for the unification or uniting. So when each one of us will be doing that, it is only then the integral unity, what we are talking about, the self-integration, which the science of yoga also talks about, will happen, and also the social unity will take place. So when we talk about the WHO definition of health, of course, when we talk about the most talked about Ayurvedic definition of health, given by Acharya Sushruta Samadosha Samagnischa Samadhatu Malakriya Prasannatmendriya Manaswastitya Vidiyate. WHO says health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, which was given in 1948. And our definition, which Acharya Sushruta has given from thousands of years back, and it is still continuing in the same way. Now, in this WHO definition, also people have started having their own outlook that this seems to be incomplete, and therefore they are thinking that it should be changed by introducing some aspects related to wellness. So now, what is wellness or well-being? Wellness is an active process of becoming aware of and making choices towards a healthy and fulfilling life. It is more than being free from illness. It is a dynamic process of change and growth, a good or satisfactory condition of existence, a state characterized by health, happiness, and harmony and prosperity. In short, welfare. Irrespective of a person's age, size, shape, or perceived attractiveness, it is wellness that makes the cornerstone of quality of life. You know, this is very important. We all need to have a good quality of life, and for good quality of life, we need to have that sense of well-being. Sense of well-being will not develop until and unless we feel that well-being. Okay, so it determines how a person ultimately looks, feels, interacts with others, and thrives in life and work. Again, you see, this goes with the principles of unition or unity. Therefore, wellness is the conscious development of the whole self. Okay, how it is different. Now, we all know when we go to the hospitals and we write the history, and there we write no any abnormalities detected, NAD. So more or less, the condition of health today is regarded with regards to not having any clinically detected abnormalcy. So now, from the state of unhealth to the state of health, if we look, there is role of medical intervention along with diet and lifestyle modulations, etc. But then there is one stage which is going further from the stage of health, and that is the stage of well-being. So from not having any detected abnormality to be into the state of bliss, what yoga calls about staying in the Anandamaya Kosha. So there is role of nutrition, the role of mental attitude, the role of lifestyle, the role of conscious awareness. This is the probable difference which we can understand with regards to getting from an unhealthy condition to the condition of health, and from condition of health to the condition of well-being. And today, what we need more is the condition of the well-being. There are again different aspects. When we talk about the aspects of well-being, there is occupational aspect, emotional aspect, spiritual aspect, environmental aspect, physical aspect, social aspect, intellectual aspect, etc. So if we want to be well in all those dimensions, we need to focus on how we can be well with regards to these dimensions. First of all, we need to think about what is the importance of wellness, why we need to think about wellness. Maintaining an optimum level of wellness is absolutely crucial to have a higher quality of life. Wellness matters because everything we do and every emotion we feel relates to our well-being. In turn, our well-being directly affects our actions, also our emotions. And this is an ongoing cycle. So suppose if I have had a quarrel at my house before I go out, I will be affected with it, and probably that will be reflected in my whole day's activities. Also in my interrelationships with all other people who come into my contact for that day. In turn, therefore, it is important for everyone to achieve optimal wellness in order to subdue stress, reduce the risk of illness, and ensure positive interactions. Now, positive interactions are very important, not only for prospering for that given day, but also prospering the feeling of unity as well. Now you can see this quality index of 2010, and you will see that not many countries are in the green or the dark green zone, because the dark green zone is the best possible conditioning. And more of the places are either in yellow or orange or red zones, which does not show very good conditioning. We were talking of 2010, the quality of life index has not much changed even in 2019. That means we actually need to think more about this wellness aspect, and we should take this more seriously, because it has so many repercussions. Repercussions where the world's 3.2 billion workers are increasingly unwell. Now, these are some researches which have taken place in foreign countries, but if we look at our country also, the conditions are not so very bright. They face significant economic insecurity. 74% live on less than required wages on per day basis. 45% of the workers work in low skill or manual occupations, and 77% of the workers work in part-time, temporary or vulnerable conditions. It can be the unpaid jobs as well. Now, if we look at our situation, also we can reflect these aspects today. Then poor health in working age adults. Poor health in working age adults, which affects the gross domestic product rate. And we can see that an average of 7.4% of GDP will be affected by 2030. If we look at the Indian subcontinent or the Indian aspect, it is 7.7%. Now, since past 1.5 years or more, we are under this pandemic, and this will again adversely affect the GDP. So we can see that when we talk of well-being, the whole world population has been adversely affected, and when this is adversely affected, it will also definitely affect the uplifting the status of health also, finance also, and also interpersonal and intrapersonal relationships. Because you see today, if you open the newspapers or any channels, you will see so many suicides are happening, so many clashes are happening. The minds have become more agitated. Now, there is some plus point also for this, why we should look at this wellness, because the global wellness economy happens to be a $4.5 trillion market. This will increase day by day. And where does this all focus upon? Like wellness tourism, mental wellness, real estate, physical activities, healthy eating, nutrition and weight loss businesses, preventive and personalized medicine and public health, personal care, beauty and anti-aging, that is $1,083 billion market. So today, if we are focusing on this wellness, of course, we have also to keep in view that market cannot flourish until and unless the aspect of working in coordination or working in unity or working in unison is not there. And therefore, this both aspects of personal or physical or social and mental well-being as well as unity are not particularly developed. We need to focus upon this. So how we can think of wellness, how we can embark on those aspects of wellness. Embarking on a wellness journey is a process of searching for appropriate tools to make a person healthier and happier human being. Plus, it also is related with discovering one's own effective methods to use these tools for continued growth and development. As there is a great variety in all aspects of life, as we saw earlier, there are also countless ways to cultivate oneself on an ever-changing path of wellness. Therefore, it is very important to see that concepts of wellness intended to be used should include at least the following precepts. 1, holism. It should be whole. It should be encompassing the whole mass of a person's living attributes. Then it should be balanced. It should be developing the self-responsibility. It should be positive and proactive in nature. Now, what will happen if what I say does not take place? No, that whenever we are having a self-wellness conditioning, which is well balanced and well-rounded, then you see that overall development in all the fields, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, etc., will be unified. It will be equivocal. And when it is equivocal, a person will be having a good rounded personality. But what happens, many times people focus on only limited aspects of personality or the attributes of life. And because of that, the well-rounded development does not take place. And because of that, there can be problems related to the aspects where proper focus is not given. You can see the difference in the two spheres which are seen on the screen. So if proper focus is given, you can see it is on the left side, and if proper focus is not given, the unbalanced or imbalanced and the unrounded positioning is on the right side. This can happen, which can lead to various problems. Then one such aspect, the 4 aspects which we talked about, like it should be holistic and it should be a self-responsibility generating, etc., etc. Yoga happens to be one such dimension. Now, when we talk of yoga, the first question comes, why we talk of yoga when we talk about wellness? Because man evam manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, mind is one of the main aspects which plays the role. Yoga talks about discipline, anushasanam. And without discipline, wellness will not come. We have seen the results of undisciplined lifestyle. We are into this pandemic probably because of our undisciplined way of living. And the NCDs which are increasing today around. Yoganga anushkhanad ashuddhi kshaye gnana dipti viveka khyate. What will happen? The ashuddhi will be decreasing by practice of Yoganga, and the Gnana Dipti, the development of true knowledge as well as the consciousness will take place. Atmendriya manortha sannikarshat sukha dukkham tadanaramba atmaste manasi sharirasya dukkha bhava sanyogaha. Vaisheshik Sutra puts it like that, that when Atma, Indriya, Mana, Artha, Sannikarsh take place, then and only then the Vedaniyam, the positive or Anukula Vedaniyam or Pratikula Vedaniyam, which we know as Sukha or Dukkha, takes place. But when this Arambha does not take place, instead Atma and Man become one, then there will be Dukkha Bhava. There will not be that unwanted stimuli happening, which is also defined as Sanyoga or Yoga. Ashesha Tapataptanam Samashraya Matohata, Ashesha Yoga Yuktanam Adaraka Matohata. So for all people who are troubled, the Ashraya is Hatha. And all those who want to proceed on the path of yoga, there also the Ashraya is Hatha. And one important thing which has been stated by Hatha Pradipika is Yuva Vriddoti Vriddho Va Vyadito Durbalopi Va Abhyasat Siddhim Apnoti Sarva Yogeshu Atandrita. Whether a person can be young, old, very old, disabled, or one who is diseased, can have success in yoga, provided a person keeps on practicing on the right path. You know, that judicious or the right path of practice is very important. Then when we talk about the etymological definitions, then yujyate etaditi yoga. Yoga is that state of chitta which is attained after the chitta vrittis are subsided. Yujyate anena iti yoga, the practices by which a chitta attains subsidation of chitta vrittis. And yujyate tasmin iti yoga, that in which the chitta vrittis subside. So now when we are talking about yoga, it can be looked upon in four aspects. Either it can be looked upon as a sadhya, or the sthiti, condition, or as a sadhana, the practice, or as sadhana, a tool. So in whatever sense you think about yoga, yoga can be a panacea for attaining the condition of wellness. Because the goals of yoga practice, as stated by our classics, starting from Rigveda, Yunjate mana uta yunjate dhiyo. Wherever your mind is joined, your intellect will also join. Chitta vritti nirodha, Patanjali Yoga Sutra says that the main goal of yoga ultimately is to subside the cyclical modification of the consciousness. Samadhi, Vyasa Bhashya Tattva Visharadi says that samadhi also can be understood as yoga. Mahopnishad states it as mana prashamanopaya, way through which the mind can be pacified. Sanyogo jivatma paramatma yoho, unison of the individual self with the supreme self. Samatvam, balance according to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or karmasu kaushalam, dexterity in action, or dukkha sanyoga viyogam. So when one is taken away from the unison with the dukkha or suffering, that particular conditioning can result in the state of yoga. There are different schools of yoga. Hatha, Raja, Mantra, Laya, Tantra, Yantra, Gnana, Bhakti, Karma, Kriya, Nad, Dhyana, etc. There can be still added. Because when you talk about the Vignan Bhairava Tantra, there are more than 121 ways which the Lord Shiva has depicted over there, saying that it is all where you can focus your minds. So there are different people and they all have different attributes. And because of that, different schools, if you have, one can proceed in the school which one likes to be with. There are 8 limbs: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. We all know that Then there are some other aspects also, the cleansing practices, Neti, Dhoti, Basti, Tratak, Nauli, Kapalbhati, Shankha Prakshalana, and also some other aspects of cleansing which have been added to it recently. These all help towards the internal and external cleansing. So now when we are talking of different dimensions, I'm going a bit fast because I know I have to complete within the time which I have lost also in the initial stages. But anyhow, physical wellness means recognizing the need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. So when we look at Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it says, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So if a person is having proper diet, proper vihara or the mode of life, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, having proper chesta activity of mind as well as activity of the body in a given karma, function or action. Yukta swapna avabodh, if the sleep and waking of patterns are according to one's requirement, then yogo bhavati dukkha. If all these things are combined together properly, it is only then the sufferings can be avoided or averted. Now, when we talk of physical wellness, if we think from the physical aspects of yoga, then hatha yoga, types of yoga, yama, ahimsa, etc., because they are to be practiced by the body. Then sukshma and stula vyayama, then asana, shuddhi kriya, pranayam, bandha mudra, etc. They all are related with creating physical composure. Now, when we look at the definition of asana, according to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, is sthira sukha masanam prayatana shaithilyananta samapatti vyam. And then what happens with asana is tato dvandvan abhigata. So now when we talk of wellness, we think about proper development of the body, proper structure, and even when we talk of sanyama, which has been given in the 3rd chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there Acharya, the sage Patanjali ji has spoken about Kaya Sampat also, where body and its attributes. Now, Hastyadini Balam also has been stated over there. So when we talk of Sanyama, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi over the factor of body, then we can achieve that aspect as well. Then comes the mental wellness. Right mental attitude, etiquette, following the ethics, rules and regulations, stability, behavior, etc. are related with mental wellness. So when we talk about various aspects of yoga like Niyam, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishwar, Pranidhan, then when we talk of Kriya Yoga, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishwar, Pranidhan has been stated to be Kriya Yoga according to Sage Patanjali ji, and it says Klesha Tanu Karanat, for decreasing the klesha in the life. And what are kleshas? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Ignorance. Asmita is related to the ego or pride. This is mine, this belongs to me, etc. Then comes raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred, and ultimately abhinivesha, that is the fear of death which everyone has. So when you do Kriya Yoga, these things will be decreased, and if you think about them in detail, then you will find that these kleshas itself are the root causes of problems. Patanjali ji has stated that avidya is the first and foremost of them, which gives rise to everything else. Chale vatam chalam chittam nischale nischalam bhavet. Yogistanu amapnoti tato vayum nirodayat. So till the breath is moving, the mind will be agitated, the mind will be moving, and when the breath becomes calm and still, then the mind also will become calm and to attain wellness, that is very important. Shuddhi, particularly Neti and Kapalbhati, relates with the proper activation of the brain, the frontal lobe, and cleansing of those aspects of the body where also the prana shodhana will take place, and because of that, the wellness will take place. Of course, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, yoga nidra also will be the aspects which will help for mental wellness. Then we talk of emotional wellness. Coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships is the part of emotional wellness, where Rajyog, Yam and Niyam practice, asana, Shuddhi Kriya, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Yoga Nidra, Dharana. Then comes Ekatattva Abhyasa. So focusing on any one aspect, because this is very important. To be stable, you need to focus on some singular objects. When you have varied aspects to focus upon, then that stability cannot be achieved. So even while practicing asana and pranayama, if you can focus on any one point, then stillness will take place. This is what you can feel when you are practicing particularly vrikshasana. It is very hard to stand still on one leg for a prolonged period of time. But if you do this focusing on any one given point, then it will become easier to focus. So then comes Aklishta Vritti. Now, Patanjali ji has stated about 5 vrittis. That is Pramana, Viparya, Vikalpa, Nidra and Smriti. These are 5 vrittis which are very much essential in day-to-day life for so many things. But until and unless you have those Aklishta vrittis, because if the same vrittis become klisht, they become seeds for developing of different problems in life. When they remain aklisht, uncomplicated, then they can lead you towards salvation or kaivalya. Kheyam dukkham anagatam. Stop the activities which you know can result in problems for you. Prevention is better than cure. Even the science of yoga says it. And then chitta prasadana, maitri, karuna, mudita, upeksha, etc. are the attributes which a yogi needs to practice so that he can stay balanced. Then comes the intellectual wellness, is recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. This can be done through Jnana Yoga. Sukshma Stula Vyayam will help in it. Asana, Neti, Trataka, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, particularly the initial aspect of Savitark, Sabij, Sampragnat Samadhi, because when Asampragnat Samadhi comes, then you are not at all related with all these worldly or mundane aspects and you will stay in the spiritual plane. Then when we talk of social wellness, developing sense of connection, belonging and a well-developed support system is the demarcation of social wellness. When we are talking of Hatapradipika, there it says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagra janasangascha laulyam cha shadbir yogo vinashyati. There Swatmaramji says that if you are having a lot of socializing or if you are so much distributed in social life, then success in yoga will not come. And therefore, the procedure which he suggests is Janasanga Parityaga. So socialize less. So for social wellness and bringing up social wellness also, limited social exposure is very important. The world has become different today because you have social connections right in your hands through your mobiles and other gadgets available. And because of that, even though when you are not so social physically, mentally and emotionally, you are so much in social connections, which is one of the reasons where diversity or distractions are happening more. Yama, Niyama, Shuddhi Kriya, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Sanyama, and the practice of Chitta Prasadana can be very useful to develop and bring about the social wellness. When we talk of spiritual wellness, expanding our sense of purpose and meaning in life is very important. Bhakti Yoga is one of the aspects which can be helpful. Trataka, practice of vairagya. Vairagya is detachment. Ekatatvabhyasa, aparigraha, tapa, swadhyaya, Ishwar pranidhan, japa, pranava, sadhana, then dharana, dhyan are the aspects which can help a person to go towards understanding one's own self better. And let me tell you, even for developing unity or the aspects of unition, understanding the people, etc., the first thing what is required is understanding of one's own self. If we don't understand our own self, then it is very hard for us to understand the opposite. And this is a very important feature which a physician definitely should have, because a physician will have to tell remedies to people whom he or she does not know. So you will have to try and understand the patient within the limited time you get to know them. And if your consciousness is focused and if you are well aware, it is then that this can happen. And for that, the spiritual aspect of wellness helps you a lot. Then comes the financial and occupational wellness. I have taken both these together because ultimately both are very much related to each other. Satisfaction with current and future financial situations is very important aspect to know. Personal satisfaction and enrichment derived from one's work. So when we talk of Karma Yoga, which Srimad Bhagavad Gita has stated that Karmanyavadikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. Today the condition is different. We think of the phala first, that why should I do this karma? It is because I want to have all these phala. And then when we do not have those phala, then we start abusing the karma and the whole system which is related with the karma. No, that is not the right concept. We are bound and we have been born to do karma, and if we are doing our karma genuinely well, then definitely the phala is going to come either in cash or in kind. Maybe what we expect may not come, but then what is needed for us, that will definitely come. So karma yoga, nishkam karma, karma kaushalya are the attributes of yoga which can be of help. Yama, that is ahimsa, satya, asteya, parigraha, niyama. Then the concept which Patanjali ji has stated, vyadi sthana sanshaya pramada alasya avirati bhranti darshana alabdha bhumikatva anavasthitatva dukkha daurmanasya angume jayatu, because these all are antrayas, what he has talked about. And when these antrayas are there, then your progress towards unity and understanding yourself will not happen. And that is why as we practice yoga, these will gradually disappear. Then asana, pranayama, shuddhi, pratyahara, dharana, etc. are other aspects which can be helpful in developing financial and occupational wellness in a person. Then we come to environmental wellness, which is the greatest need of the day, because in order to have best living conditions for ourselves, we have stopped looking at the environment of our surroundings and we have damaged the environment. Because of that, we are facing so many problems, and God help us that we should not fall victims to any other problems further, but which seems very remote to happen. No, good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well-being. Now, this is at the home also, it is in the neighborhood also, it is in the society, city, at the place of work, at every place. If we can create a good environment, and how this can happen? Through the practice of Gnana Yoga, understanding, knowing, first of all, ourselves, then the others, and the need of the place where we are. Sarva pranishu bandhu bhuta syat. Even Acharya Charak has talked about it when he has talked about the aspect of Satya Buddhi. And the science of yoga, particularly Taittiriya Upanishad says, Chittadi sarva bhaveshu brahmatveneva bhavanat. When we are able to recognize the vital consciousness in every object other than us, then we can feel that unity with them, oneness with them. And when we can feel that oneness with them, then probably the aspect of harming or the aspect of creating good relationship with all those aspects, I am not talking of only the animate beings or the human beings, even the inanimate beings need to be looked upon with this eye of compassion, karuna. In Sadavritta also, Acharya Charak has stated that don't dig the earth unnecessarily. So in that sense, this environmental wellness concept is there, but we need to understand and follow this. If also we can follow Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande, so if we are injuring the environment, we will be injuring ourselves in the long run. This is how, if we can focus on all the aspects of wellness, we also can work towards unity or self-integration at number one, and then unity with all our fellow beings. And that is how yoga can be an important tool towards development of unity and well-being, which happens to be the theme of the 7th International Day of Yoga. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्. Krutagnosmi Bhavan. Thank you very much for having me over here, and I hope I delivered what I was supposed to. Thank you so much once again.
Arpan Bhatt sir, really thanks from all of us here. We are very honored to listen all your expertise. With your vast experience, you have made all things look very simple for us and all the participants. Thank you, sir. And it was, I have to say, it was a very practical one, and where you covered the personal point of view, the social point of view, including, I should say, the economical aspects also. And I especially like the word you used, the intrapersonal relationship. That's quite unique, sir. Thanks for all your... Thank you, sir. Thanks for all the experience you have shared with us. I'm sure students and all the delegates are very much delighted to hear your a wonderful lecture on wellness. Sir, I have a small question, sir. We have got 1 or 2 questions. We can answer them. Can we take few questions, sir?
Yeah, I hope.
Sir, one person has asked about the intellectual wellness. You spoke in between.
Yes.
Yeah, he wants some details on that. Or like what it is.
I mean, what detail?
Like explain about intellectual wellness.
You see, one needs to, I hope you won't mind me referring to our scriptures, which are also sometimes regarded to be religious scriptures. But I would like to suggest reading of Bhagavad Gita to that person particularly, because when we talk of intellect, intellect is believed to be of 2 kinds, the Nishchayatmika and the Vyavasayatmika. The Nishchayatmika intellect is that which decides, it is very decisive in nature. And the Vyavasayatmika is the intellect which helps you to perform in the righteous manner. So when you can focus consciously on these 2 aspects, then you can decide about your action. And that is where this intellectual wellness will be the result in the long run. Of course, in one day or in one action, it may not result, but it is a result of a line or a chain of actions which takes place.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your kind presence and wonderful lecture from the Department of Swasthavata, HOD and all staff, principal, dean, and all the faculty of JSS Medical College, and all the participants who are present online of this international webinar. I wholeheartedly convey my heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Namaste Manjunath ji, how are you?
Namaste, namaste, Apambatji. I just wanted to say this, that you have set such a wonderful platform. It was so wonderful listening to you. And you look good. You are looking totally different, but you are looking beautiful.
That is what I said in the initial stage. This is the lockdown look.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Manjunath sir, shall we start?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. With this, conveying heartfelt thanks to Arpan Bhatt sir once again, we'll move on to the scientific session 2, wherein we'll be hearing from Dr. Manjunath Sharma sir. To introduce sir, I would like to call upon Dr. Sushmita, second year PG scholar, Department of Swasthavrata and Yoga. Dr. Sushmita, over to you. Dr. Sushmita, kindly unmute.
Thank you, sir. Namaste. Pranams to His Holiness Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, respected dignitaries, Principal Sir, HOD Sir, Dean Sir, and all other faculty members and all participants. I will take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Manjunath NK for today's session. Dr. Manjunath NK is the Pro Vice Chancellor and the Director of Research at SVSI University. He has completed a bachelor degree in naturopathy and yogic sciences from Mangalore University and a PhD in yoga and geriatric medicine from SVSI University. He has also been awarded the Doctor of Science from SVSI University for his contributions to yoga research. He has 26 years of academic research and administrative experience and has published 70 research papers in journal in text in international bibliographic databases. His research interests include psychophysiology of yoga, neural correlates of meditation, aging, and rehabilitation. He has guided several students of PhD, MD, and MSc. He is also the editor of International Journal of Yoga and the reviewer of various international journals. Dr. Manjunath has delivered lectures on evidence-based yoga therapy and conducted workshops at prestigious institutions and universities across the world, including Harvard Medical School, USA, Monash University, Australia, Royal College of Medicine, London, Changhua University of Sports, China, Parma University, Italy, etc. He serves as a member of Scientific Advisory Committee, Department of Science and Technology, Research Advisory Committee, Integrative Medicine Initiative, Niti Aayog, Core Committee, Yoga Accreditation in Higher Education, NAC, Government of India, and Steering Committee, Yoga Programs and Accreditation, Yunnan Minzu University, China, etc. He is the Vice President of Vivekananda Yoga University, California, USA, Vice President of Asian Yoga Therapy Association, Singapore, and the founding director of the global chain of integrative medicine clinics and hospital with the brand name Vivekananda Health Global. On the behalf of all, I cordially invite you to enlighten with your esteemed knowledge. I request you, sir, to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sushmita. And I have to thank all the organizers, in particular, Dr. Reddy, for inviting me to this wonderful webinar. And also, I offer my salutations to the holy feet of Swamiji, whose blessings alone has led so many individuals to a wonderful life. And also thank my dear friend who is there, Dr. Aparna, who has been a wonderful colleague for years. And it was a pleasure having this session with Dr. Arpan Bhatt, who has set a wonderful platform, as I said already. Today, I've been talking about yoga as an evidence-based medicine, or using your evidence-based approach in yoga. So I'll be just sharing my slides for you.
Visible, sir. It's visible.
Thank you. So my life has been into yoga research for 26 years now. So when we started learning about the fundamentals and basics of yoga, so it was wonderful. But when I started learning about understanding the science behind yoga, it was really amazing. That's what has led to me focusing exclusively into yoga research, and Vyasa University has given me that platform to achieve this. When we look at yoga research, a few questions come to our mind. So if you really want to understand the evolution of yoga research, you don't need to think that yoga research has started just recently. So the scientific, or whatever we are calling scientific, the methodologies were known to our great yoga masters and rishis thousands of years back. And of course, this so-called modern scientific approach has started over 100 years now. And it has started basically with a curiosity, and it has progressed well when people started looking at various health benefits of yoga as some of the important takeaways. So today we have so much of work, either which is already done or which is going on in the field of physiology to molecular bioscience, which has made it possible for us to understand probably this is the way yoga is working. And yoga works is known to everybody, but how was the question? And the scientific research has made an attempt to answer that. And beyond all this, there's a lot of interest and attempts are being made in unraveling certain unknown areas like consciousness studies, and also taking it beyond, because yoga is the only field which can take you beyond this physical understanding of human body. So we said that research was known to our great masters thousands of years back. Were there assessment tools available during that time? So certainly yes, there were well designed assessment tools even thousands of years back. And even everything was based on certain principles, how you exactly want to do it. So there used to be subjective as well as objective tools, which was used as common methods. And also they knew these methods were basically used to understand the subtle world more than just the physical world. So what we use today, those instruments, probably these can help us understand only the physical quotient of human body. But they had so many tools which probably could have taken us to much deeper layers of existence. And one such example is we have these our own great philosophical methods, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. So we know it very well that Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa have represented science and technology of what we are using today, and the details are so elaborate. These assessment tools which I was talking are even available today. But we feel that they are not objective enough in understanding what we are trying to understand. But if we really want to go into the depth of it, start from here and you can design and you can go into the much deeper levels of understanding. So it is said that everything was based on an eligibility criteria. So even there used to be assessment criteria. What we have entrance tests today, we have multiple methods of understanding how a student is fit to do something or not. When it comes to yoga and spiritual lore, these definitions were very clear. What were those qualifications of a teacher? So he has to be a Shrotriya and Brahmanista, and the student has to be following certain basic things. Tadvitti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So, and under each one of them, there used to be clear details, what exactly are the steps and methods, and you have to clear certain things, and that used to be a method of monitoring as well. It was also important for us to understand whether these methods were used just for certain activities or also used to understand the progression. So when you do certain yoga practices, even today we don't have a method of understanding whether I am progressing well or not. So many people ask, I'm sitting and doing meditation, so I truly don't know whether I have gone into the deeper states of meditation. Even as simple as an asana, whether when you do an asana, whether you are doing it perfectly or not, how do you understand them? So there used to be wonderful methodologies available to understand the progress, what you are making in your sadhana with respect to yoga, particularly looking at different techniques like asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, and dhyana. And also there used to be personalized rating scales. So we all heard about gunas, which actually look at personality traits of an individual, whether you are dominated by sattvic personality or rajasic or tamasic personality. So there is, doshas, it is never any one personality, any one guna. So it's a combination of them. So which combination is working strongly, and how do you actually bring a modification in them? And of course, Prakriti, as very well detailed in Ayurveda, I'm not going to details, and also doshas, Agni, and of course, Nadi. Swara Yoga talks about so much in detail, understanding the Nadis. And of course, the chakras and energy plexus, which we always refer to when you want to really talk about some subtle dimensions of the energy field. So assessment tools were very well, in a way, known to our ancient seers. But I have picked very few of them. But if you go into each one of the details in each text, you have so much. So why I'm mentioning it is that we always need to correlate both these. If you go only with the modern technical approach or medical approach, probably you will miss out something. So in our practice of scientific research in yoga, we always combine both of them. So bring the best of the East with the best of the West is what Swami Vivekananda said, and we follow it very strictly. So the fundamental principle of present day research is bringing the following dimensions. So this has developed hardly around 400 years back, and what they look at is whether whatever I am trying to measure, can you measure it physically? When you can measure it physically, can you reproduce it? I measure it now. I measure it after a few days, after under similar conditions. Can I reproduce the same result? If somebody doing the yoga in India versus America versus somewhere else, can I reproduce the same results? So similarly, generalizability. Whatever I see in one patient, can I generalize it to several of patients? So these are the fundamental principles on which the whole scientific dimensions are built. And even in yoga research, these are the areas which are focused. And honestly speaking, we do have some difficulties in actually following these principles as it is followed in modern day understanding. Hence, the objective validation has been the fundamental focus here. When it comes to yoga research, the whole process has started with these three different dimensions. So if you really ask about evidence-based approach, it has started initially with a basic curiosity. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples for that. And later supported by the health benefits, what people started reporting, and subsequently its applications. So health and of course applications in disease management is one I have mentioned here, but there are several applications. Let me take you through some historical highlights of particularly talking about yoga research. So whenever we talk of yoga research, what comes very strongly to all of us is this particular person, Swami Kuvalyananda. So we have the earliest data where yoga meditation has been scientifically tested and published. So if you can look in the PubMed, the first ever such yoga meditation related publication available in PubMed is in 1919. So 19th century has been probably the most remarkable period for scientific exploration of yoga. Started with the work of N.C. Paul and Major Basu. And this was subsequently supported by various other people. So you see the first similar attempt was made by Sri Yogendraji and of course Swami Kuvalyananda in 20th century. Many medical practitioners visited Kaivalyadam, which is where Swami Kuvalyananda has moved, and he started conducting some experiments at his Health and Yoga Research Center. And you will see many of those historical experiments conducted during this time. This is one such experiment. Even today, we find it difficult to do some yoga-related studies, but you see, it's so wonderful to see very high-class scientific studies conducted, putting a yogi in an underground pit and studying his electrical activity of the brain as well as physiological changes following this. So similar studies were also done at Kaivalyadam, looking at metabolic changes, what exactly happens either when you do specific practice or hold your breath or do some meditative practices. So this is very famous, very well-known thing of Swami Kuvalyananda himself participating in several of such experiments. One of that was on Nauli. So he had taken radiographic images and measured the changes in intra-abdominal pressure during Nauli Kriya. So even today, we feel that how do we measure? There could be some difficulties, but a scientist can always bring out such wonderful methods in measuring what he wants to measure, and Swami Kuvalyananda was one such person. So similar experiments were done on several of such things to understand how changes are taking place. Apart from Swami Kuvalyananda, I should mention here that there are many other people who have contributed for this curiosity-based yoga research. Because Swami Sri T. Krishnamacharya, who is a very well-known personality in the yoga community, who has given yoga to many such biggest yoga gurus today. So he has also participated in certain experiment in 1935 and demonstrated that he can bring his electrical activity of the heart to quite minimal level, or he can bring it to a straight line. So these kind of exceptional feats what yoga masters have demonstrated has created more curiosity in medical professionals and researchers. So it is not limited to some of them, but also many others like Ramanand Yogi, who demonstrated an exceptional feat of reducing oxygen requirement when he was doing meditation, and also demonstrated his ability to slow down the electrical activity of the heart. So Swami Paramahamsa Yogananda is one of the greatest personalities we remember in yoga field. So he was another person who actually demonstrated several of those exceptional feats, including suspended animation. So he, in a way, showed the physiological hibernation, what we actually see in various areas, Arctic regions or wherever it is, whether animals follow it naturally, but consciously and voluntarily you can achieve such things is what has been demonstrated by these great masters. And he also demonstrated it is so easy to reduce the electrical activity of the heart. See, we all get worried when the electrical activity starts slowing down. but these people had their will in actually manipulating these aspects. Swami Rama is another individual who contributed to yoga research by volunteering in many of these. This is a very special phenomenon what Swami Rama has demonstrated, but when you go back and look at many other records or many other studies, you see the same phenomenon. So what happens? Swami Rama could actually bring his electrical activity to a minimal, ECG to a minimal close to a straight line. And what happened was, just before demonstrating this, there is a phenomenon, what we all know in medical field as atrial flutter, where you have tachycardia to a tune of your heartbeat going up to 300 beats per minute. So this has been something very surprising thing, when a yogi who wanted to actually move from one kind of being in an suspended animation to another. So many things happening at a physiological level. So probably there is a sort of a stimulation, deep, sudden stimulation, which takes you to deepest level of relaxation. So I have seen the same phenomenon in many of these scientific studies reported. So this is yet another wonderful demonstration, once again published in American Heart Journal. So what has happened here was Yogi Satyamurthy demonstrated an exceptional feat of bringing electrical activity of the heart to a straight line. So what you see, A, B, C. So he is one person who not only brought it to a straight line, but kept it like that for 7 long days. So this is really something difficult to understand physiologically. But this is not just one individual. As you can see here, number of studies published on similar area, like ability to stay in an airtight box, then once again stop heart beating, absence of cardiac electrical activity, and changes in body temperature. So this has become a very common phenomenon for yoga masters. So this is what has led to something very special called voluntary control over involuntary functions. So yoga is very well known for this, because otherwise cardiac, respiratory, metabolic, many of the things which we believe as involuntary can probably be regulated and controlled through the mastery over various aspects. Hence, in yoga research, when we actually bring in various components, the whole purpose is basically converting tradition into science. That doesn't mean that the tradition is not science. So we are trying to understand it in a way what the present day world expects us to understand. So we are moving from understanding the experiential science through experimental science. So that's the whole fundamental interest. Like imagine a great Buddhist meditator sitting in Himalayas. I bring him to my laboratory and I put all these electrodes and I want to test him. So now the basic question comes, can he produce the same meditative effects what probably he would have produced in Himalayas? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because a great yoga master, it doesn't matter. The minute you close your eyes, what you do is internalization. Doesn't matter where you are sitting. But if you are a fresh, newly recruited person, what exactly happens is that you get disturbed and you will not be able to do the practice very well. So we have to be very careful when we choose our subjects for yoga research, because later when we publish, we are making a statement about the great science called yoga. So if my subjects are not okay, then probably I'm making a mistake in what inference I'm drawing that. So it's good to convert tradition into science, but do it in the right possible way is the basic message. In research, we look at these 4 various aspects. One is literary research, basic research, clinical research, and applied research. So literary research, as Dr. Arpan elaborated so well, that there is so much of knowledge. But as per the requirement of present day, we need to extract that knowledge, or we need to dig, and we have to do the mining. And probably when you have that knowledge, it will help you not only for improving your understanding, but also to do better scientific research or present day experimental research. Also, it helps in exploring ancient methods and mechanisms. Probably what we are trying to explore and understand is already well explained. So first of all, if we can go back to those ancient texts and understand the given methods and mechanism, probably we will answer them better. And it also helps in comparing and correlating the Oriental and Eastern and Western approaches. And definitely it will help us in asking deeper research questions. The second component is the basic research. So this is where you try to understand the physiological effects of different yoga practices, and you want to explore the cause and effect relationship. There are so many publications, but still we have to do more and more research. The main purpose is to really unravel those underlying mechanisms. Which exact mechanism is working to produce a particular result, what you are claiming. And also it helps us in categorizing these practices based on immediate and long-term effects. Many times we pick a scientific study and we say that this particular pranayama has got a beneficial effect. Probably what they have studied is immediately after the practice of pranayama, these are the kind of changes. Nobody has studied what happens when you do pranayama over 1 month period, 3 months period, and the dosage required to produce an X amount of effect. See, today it has become a fashion. People say that I'm doing yoga, so I do 30 minutes yoga, 45 minutes yoga. In that you do hardly around 5 minutes or pranayama. In that you do around 4 or 5 pranayamas. For each pranayama, you spend not more than 1 minute. So is that sufficient to produce or get the beneficial effects of that pranayama, which is scientifically studied? So these are the questions what you basically answer through your basic research. And understand the methods of combining various techniques. We might know that there are lots of techniques, asana, pranayama, etc., but how do you combine them? So which has to come first, which has to go last? Very well defined in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, etc. So you can always take those as the base, but when you know the basic effect through basic research, you can put them together for designing not only for healthy people, let us say 1 hour yoga practice, but also for clinical use, you can design your protocols. And it also helps us in understanding or identifying adverse effects. Imagine there's so much spoken, like there are publications about Kapalabhati and many other things, talking about the adverse effects of certain yoga practices. So instead of looking at only the adverse effects, let us identify those limitations. So blindly, let us not make people just do certain practices. So there must be a well-defined process for why we are giving these practices to them. Major classifications under which scientific studies have been conducted are some of them are here, like asana, pranayama, relaxation techniques. Meditation, I have highlighted, there are lots of studies on that. And of course, kriyas. But there are a few studies on other aspects of yoga as well. I'm just focusing only on the basic research part. If you look at out of all these technique studies, around 60% of the publications, research studies come from meditation research. And out of 30% of them coming from pranayama research or breathing-based research, while only 10% of the studies coming from asana or physical posture-related studies. When you look at some images like this, and this is what's forward. Okay, so you see the greatest legendary yoga masters, B.K. Iyengar, in a modified Setubandhasana. And below you see another Irish yogi in a similar posture. The only difference is consciousness. Okay, so basically what happens is you ask a question, whichever way I bend my body, are the physiological effects going to be same? Okay, many people do Shirshasana by taking wall support. If you can get the same physiological effects, then why do you need to struggle to actually master the practice and do Shirshasana in without support? When you look at the ancient texts, there are so many varieties. Okay, particularly Shirshasana, you see Salamba Shirshasana. Okay, so then where you take either your hand support, or even there are Niralamba, where you even don't take your hand support, you just balance on support. What is very important is also the descriptions behind these practices. Hatha Yoga Pradipika says that Shirshasana in particular, this practice increases the inner fire, and one who practices it regularly should eat adequately to meet the increasing needs. This is one such clue given. So probably it suggests us in the present day understanding, it probably increases your metabolic processes. It probably increases your sympathetic activity. So that such inference will help us to do scientific research. So we did one such study. I mean, we always do it, take the inputs from ancient scriptures, and we go back to our laboratory and do this kind of experiment. So this particular study, when we do, so this tells us what exactly happens to your autonomic nervous system, metabolic process, etc. So it is very simple today to demonstrate whatever we are trying to record. Is it really easy and possible to actually note and report the similar changes when you do the same practices? So this suggested that when people did Shirshasana with wall support and without wall support, the results were same and different. Same because there was stimulation. So the sympathetic, as measured through the low frequency component of heart rate variability, went up very significantly during the practice of 2-minute Shirshasana. And after coming back, the parasympathetic, the sympathovagal balance shifted towards vagal dominant after coming down, and the person was relaxing in supine rest. So it gives us an idea, and we can always look at its beneficial effects subsequently. Similar to Shirshasana, there are lots of asanas picked and studied. So some of them are here for you: Padmasana, then Sarvangasana, and also combination of postures like Surya Namaskar, etc. have been scientifically studied, and they demonstrated amazing results. Apart from physiological changes, present day, another area which is of great interest is biomechanics of yoga. So this is where people are trying to understand various aspects of biomechanical principles governing asanas. So lots of studies are done in this area now. When you do a particular asana, what exactly happens, which muscle groups are working, which joints are at maximal movement, and how exactly is that muscle activation pattern, whether these group to these group and these group of muscles, is there a nice trend which you can identify. So then based on that, you can give your instructions, now relax these and now move on to this. So there are lots of learnings which we can pick from studies like this. So you can measure everything today when it comes to asanas, be it joint angles, be it joint movement of force, etc. And also the muscle activation pattern. What is important is correlating this with our ancient wisdom. It actually correlates very well. So I have put some of these slides for you. So we say also, Dr. Appan Bhatt mentioned earlier, that some basic definitions of asana like sthiram sukham asana. So that has to be firm and pleasant is what we say. If you combine both these principles, what you understand is what is very essential in biomechanics for maintaining a position are the following, like the weight bearing joint, it has to be very firm because that's the source. And plane of motion, like the sthiti to next position and next steps to going to the final position has to be very smooth, the plane of motion. The center of gravity and lane of gravity have to be very well coordinated, because many times the center of gravity is falling in one place in sthiti, while when you move to the other position, it moves. And the lane of gravity has to be managed so well, then the balance aspect becomes very easy and simple. And the muscles, particularly agonists and antagonists, have to be very supportive. Okay, so what you basically need to do is as much you put pressure on a forward bending, many people find it difficult to bend forward. Okay, so it is not just stretching forward is important, but also relaxing the antagonists, okay, which are not cooperating for you to bend forward. So, and finally, you are well established in a position without any disturbance. So when you bring these concepts of our ancient wisdom with the modern biomechanical aspects, you can understand it much better. Another shloka which say, which always gives lot of importance is what you actually need to focus when you are doing a practice. Okay, so with the slightest of the efforts, you actually need to reach a state of unlimitedness. Okay, so the posture becomes firm and pleasant when you do that. Prayatna shaitilyam ananta samapatibhyam. You have to drop that prayatna and get established in that expansion. That's the basic aspect of asana. So here also, when you bring biomechanical principles, you will understand to do anything prayatna, I mean, you need force to do any motion activity. So when you reach the final position, it should become so natural that you drop that effort and get established in the state of expansion. So this probably takes you to a transient acclimatization state. Your body gets acclimatized when you are in a final position. So that acclimatization has to become so natural that your body won't resist. So you sit in a meditative posture for long, you can practice anything without any issue. So that's the beauty of bringing this together. And finally, this samatva, or the balance what we talk of. So tatho dvandva anabhigataha. So of course, we talk about all other subtle aspects, but when you bring it to an asana, it's also important to look at the pairs of opposites, okay, working when you are doing a posture. So the muscles, there are pairs of opposites working, joints, pairs of opposites working, and the joint position sense, which is going to your brain and asking you to do some adjustments, the proprioception also has to be aligned, and the physiological processes governing them. So all these things can be regulated so well. And that's why B.K. Iyengar always used to say, alignment. He always used to this, the mantra is alignment. So probably he knew the biomechanics principles so well along with traditional knowledge. The second area which is explored, as I said, very well is pranayama. Dr. Bhatt mentioned about this particular shloka. It is very important for you after asana to get into pranayama before you go to meditation, because there are lots of benefits. As this shloka says, chale vate chale chittam nischalam nischalo bhavet yogis tanutvam apnoti tadovayu nirodayet. So you can actually manipulate your mind the way you want by manipulating your breath. So that's what in a grosser sense. use multiple tools. You use your nostrils, you use your mouth, and you do inhalation through one nostril, two nostrils, etc. Many people have asked this question: why you yoga people make it such a big thing about breathing from either right nostril or left nostril? Whichever nostril through you breathe, it gets into the same nasal passage behind. It's 2.5 inches. How does it matter? So, but lots of studies have been done to understand the impact of breathing through one particular nostril and the nasal mucous membrane related receptors. Can it directly impact a particular part of the brain, and whether that has an impact on your physiological processes? All these have been studied very, very well. So what we are looking at is various techniques like this, where Kapalabhati is actually picked as Kriya. Then Bastrika, lots of Kumbhaka-based pranayamas. Then in each one of them, you regulate a portion of your breathing. In Kapalabhati, as well in Bastrika, you regulate the rate and depth. And in Kumbhak pranayamas, you use breath holding. And you certain pranayamas like Shitli, Shitkari, you use your mouth. And of course, in Surya, Chandra, Anuloma, Viloma, Nadi Shuddhi, you breathe in and out through one nostril or both. So, of course, in Brahmari, you use resonance. So there's also a correlation between the ancient understanding of nadis and the present-day understanding of hemispheric dominance. So we know that right nostril, left nostril, alternate nostril have been correlated very well, like Ida Nadi, Chandra, left nostril, Pingala, Surya, correlating with right nostril. And similarly, the right nostril has been some way related to the sympathetic activity and left nostril to parasympathetic. So when you do this alternate nostril breathing, or when you do multiple of these, you manipulate them. You can study what exactly happens using wonderful technology available today. These are all what we use in our laboratories, apart from physiological processes. So what exactly happens to your brain? You can study using functional near-infrared spectroscopy, which gives quite similar information as that of functional MRI, but not to the precision what we look at in functional MRI. What also happens to your blood flow changes, okay? Whether it is cortical blood flow changes, which you measure using FNARIs, you would want to study either a middle cerebral artery or any of the other arteries carrying blood to the brain. You can study them using transcranial Doppler. Because you have such an option, you can understand what exactly happens when you do it with a high frequency. So Kapalbhati has demonstrated, everybody thinks that Kapalbhati is a very potent stimulating practice. But if you look at the post-practice effect, it is highly relaxing practice. It is said that when you do Kapalabhati, at the end of it, you reach a state of Kevala Kumbhaka. There is a dramatic cessation of your breath. Probably this is an amazing practice. It brings your thought processes to a standstill after you practice and stop. So the brain waves, particularly looking at when you do eyes closed Kapalabhati, and after the practice, you can see a lot of alpha. Beta disappears. It is also a practice to improve your attentional processes. And the right nostril breathing in particular, when you do only through right nostril, inhalation and exhalation, is a potent stimulating practice. So it increases the oxygen consumption, metabolic activity increases. Blood pressure, blood flow to the skin, grip strength, memory, brain functions on the right side of the brain increases. So people had this question, when I do right nostril breathing, whether it influences ipsilateral brain hemisphere or contralateral, same side or the opposite side. So even today, we don't have very conclusive evidence to say that it is ipsilateral or contralateral. But certain, when you measure certain functions, it has shown that it influences the right hemisphere. Right nostril breathing influencing right hemisphere. So similarly, the left nostril breathing has been shown to reduce blood pressure. It reduces imperceptible sweat. So galvanic skin resistance. So basically, when the resistance is high, that shows that your stress levels are low. Resistance is low, that means you have an imperceptible sweat, which is allowing the current to pass through. So that is how you will understand the stress reducing effect of yoga. Galvanic skin resistance or conductance is one of the important tools, but also memory and grip strength, once again shown to improve following Chandranuloma. Similarly, when you do alternate nostril breathing, it has a very balancing effect. So what you see here, once again, blood pressure reducing, ability to pay attention, and there are also indicators of arousal. But this is very selective. Something, if you really want to call one panacea kind of a technique in yoga, it is alternate nostril breathing, Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. Same practice given to different people can produce different effects. So this is where we have seen amazing results in when people practice alternate nostril breathing. Bhastrika is another important pranayama shown to reduce reaction time. You can react much quickly compared to reacting before doing the practice. It also has been shown that when you do Bhastrika pranayama, it has direct impact on the blood flow to the brain. And particularly the end diastolic volume reduces. So mean flow velocity increases and pulsatility index also during the practice of Bhastrika. And similarly, when people practice Kumbhak Pranayama, once again, there were very defined effects on the blood flow to the brain. Another important practice people practice regularly is Brahmari, where you do a sort of a chanting, resonating practice while you exhale. So also has been shown to be very good relaxing practice after completion. So the pulse rate reduces, the metabolites like of adrenaline reduces, and also skin resistance decreases. So there is stimulative effect, there is relaxation effect as per the requirement. Another technique used strongly in yoga research is auditory vogue potentials. So this was one of the best tools available to understand non-invasively which part of the brain is active when you do different pranayama techniques. So this one study demonstrated that when you do pranayama, so what exactly happens is you have the mesencephalon and diencephalon, particularly the thalamo-hypothalamic areas. So those act as relay centers, and this is where you have the regulation of information processing. So this demonstrated that the information processing has happened much quickly. You see that the latency has become shorter. It is the waves are occurring much quicker than before pranayama. And the wave, any wave, what you see here, the amplitude has increased, suggesting that the number of neurons recruited for doing this task also has increased. We apply all this knowledge in lots of applications, and one of the study conducted on professional swimmers in giving them Kumbhaka-based pranayama has demonstrated amazing results in improving their pulmonary functions. And the last area of all the techniques studied is meditation. Meditation as described by Patanjali as dhyana, seventh ling, and it comes under the Antaranga Yoga. And of course, it has developed in recent times as an independent discipline. It has become synonymous with mindfulness today. You keep on hearing across the world people talking about, I'm doing mindfulness, I'm doing mindfulness-based relaxation, etc. Lots of research studies have also started coming on mindfulness. Honestly, I request all the yoga researchers, please use the word meditation, or please start using the word dhyana, because if the trend goes in the similar way, we one fine day forget the actual terminologies used in yoga. We actually convert everything into a westernized understanding. It's also important to look at certain basic principles which will give you a lot of insights in doing your research. So, Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam is what meditation is described as. So, this is just to give you an idea of what is happening in the world. So, in the West, actually, meditation has been classified into two different methods. One is a concentrative type, and another is open monitoring type. So you have many techniques used, like you use a mantra, repeating a word, phrase, etc., visualization, and you're focusing on body part, and you are looking at a candle, and you are using a mala beads, using a sound, etc. All these things are put under concentrative type. While you use internalization processes, like you use your thoughts to internalize feelings, memories, sounds even, and smell, etc., also have been brought under open monitoring type. If you really want to understand the scientific methodology, scientific documentation of meditation, in a way, credit goes to Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, the Transcendental Meditation Group. So they have started very serious research on meditation. These are some of the very well-known people in the field, Robert Keith Wallace and David Ohm Johnson. So these people have actually reported as early as 1980s, lots of things like meditation can slow down your aging process, bring an EEG coherence, and lots of changes in your hormones. And of course, you can also regulate stress levels through the practice. Another person who brought meditation to a different level is Herbert Benson. So Herbert Benson has established Benson Henry Institute of Mind-Body Medicine at Mass General Hospital attached with Harvard Medical School. He has actually converted meditation in a way to a relaxation response, which is an antidote used for stress response. And you have lots of these reports available. This is another one of the greatest meditation researcher, Richie Davidson. So he has actually produced lots of such studies whereby the Vipassana meditators have been able to demonstrate their ability to control the emotional cortex, limbic cortex, through the practice of meditation, and also their ability to regulate the information at particular parts of the brain. Most of them are related to frontal lobe. So this is where you have lots of such information available in understanding it as early as 1980s. So these were a few other studies conducted in recent times, which demonstrated that when you actually do Vipassana-based meditation, what exactly happens is the area in the brain which regulates basically your one way there is visualization, another way you have the frontal cortex. So in most of the studies, you see some activation in the areas of the brain which regulate attention, like dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate, etc. And also when people do visualization, there is some activation in the occipital region. So these are some of the findings of such studies. So apart from this, lots of studies have also looked at various other types of meditation in Indian context. Brahmakumari Raj Yoga meditation, Om meditation, and cyclic meditation, which is developed from Vyasa. So the beneficial effects are amazing, which say that it can actually produce deep amount of relaxation. We also compared various states of meditation like Chanchalata, Ekagrata, Dharana, and Dhyana. Always we worry about the person did meditation, these are the effects. But we don't know whether an individual could move from Chanchalata to Ekagrata Ekagrata is bringing the focus from there to intense focusing and from there to defocusing. So the physiological responses are different. Okay, so when you actually study these different states, and that's what we have reported. We have also done some evoked potential studies and functional MRI studies. Particularly, this suggests that the differences across Ekagrata, Dharana, and Dhyana compared to Chanchalata. As you can see, there are a lot of activation, and of course, parts of the brain are also inhibited. When you do intense focusing, you see very focused activation at the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and also areas of limbic cortex. When you do dhyana, the activation at the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex remains, and at the same time, there is a lot of inhibition at the lower cortical areas. So that's where you are having that mastery of blocking unnecessary information and also bringing your focus on what is needed for you. So that's an amazing result, what you can see through meditation. Is it only functional, or can we also influence structure of the brain? This one particular study demonstrated that Vipassana meditation can increase the cortical thickness of areas, once again, as mentioned over here, hippocampus as well as right insula. So once again, indicating that it's not just practicing meditation helps you to bring functional changes, but you can also bring structural changes. Studies are many when you talk about use of meditation for applications. One of them is pain management. So once again, they have looked at meditation, and they have also looked at rest and pain, and the areas particularly looking at the sensory motor areas, what exactly happens, and the stimulation basically during a painful experience. So these are multiple theories proposed, how exactly meditation works. And of course, this is lots in detail. But just to summarize, probably when you look at all these studies, you'll get an idea that meditation provides a state of alert full rest. It's a dichotomy kind of it. Like there is alertness, there is also rest. It is possible. So sensory perception is enhanced, and your judgment and planning improves as part of your frontal lobe functions. And of course, awareness, you will be much aware of, but you will not react to an external stimuli. And it also helps in maintaining and restoring health. So there can be several applications of bringing all these basic research into use, but these are very few of them, which can be like establishing homeostasis, reduce stress response, and facilitate relaxation response, and improve your perception and performance, and use as a wellness strategy as well as preventive healthcare strategy. The other important area, I'm not going to the details of them, but I'm just going to give you an idea, is the second research area, that is a therapeutic application, third research area, therapeutic applications. I'm also combining the fourth one, which is rehabilitation. When you want to do clinical research, you ask these basic questions. Do I need to use one practice or many practices? So should there be a disease-specific practice, or can I use a general practice? How long or how regularly does one need to practice, and what should a study examine? So this gives you an idea, number of research papers available today and from which disciplines they are coming from. Not surprising, majority of the papers are coming from non-communicable diseases, around 43% of research publications. The second is mental health, where you major. In recent times, chronic diseases like cancer, research is increasing, including musculoskeletal conditions. So this gives you an idea on each one of these various important areas, how many publications are available. These are increasing exponentially. Like depression, as I said, is highly researched area apart from cancer, bronchial asthma, back pain, etc. This is one mechanism which most of them have explored, okay, HPA axis. And this is giving you some glance at what exactly has been proven already with respect to various conditions like in depression. So it has been very well demonstrated that it reduces depression scores both in young adults, geriatric population, as well as depression associated with medical conditions. Diabetes is a very well-researched area today, apart from other conditions. So you have yoga practitioners demonstrating higher insulin sensitivity. So insulin resistance is a major issue. If you practice yoga, probably you can improve, not only reduce insulin resistance, but improve insulin sensitivity. And various other indices of metabolic processes have been studied and shown beneficial. Cancer, we have one of the biggest collaborative study with MD Anderson Cancer Center, which is at Houston, USA. It demonstrated that yoga not only improves quality of life, but various indices of immune mechanisms. So this is where we can actually look at multiple aspects of cancer management. Bronchial asthma is the first ever publication from our university institution, 1985, published in British Medical Journal. From that time till today, lots of studies have shown that yoga has amazing beneficial effects in bronchial asthma and women health problems, not limited to menstrual irregularities and perimenopausal symptom, but a range of conditions. And you have enough evidence to suggest that you can reverse many of these issues through the practice of yoga-based lifestyle. And coronary artery disease is, once again, there are more than 30 publications on using yoga exclusively. Dean Ornish is one person who demonstrated reversibility is very much possible. Many of our practitioners, medical practitioners have also, Dr. S.C. Manchanda from All India Institute of Medical Sciences also demonstrated through Preksha meditation. So there are lots of benefits which you can demonstrate through this. Obesity, wellness was one of the area which is being focused. Obesity is a major contributor for this issue. And probably we need to look at the scientific benefits of yoga in obesity management. This is one study what we had done at Antarctica in particular. And this basically shows there are certain areas in yoga which you can actually pick up to understand something what is not understood. The environment is so challenging in Antarctica. Our research team was there in Antarctica along with the team from DIPAS. And for the first time, we have two laboratories of Indian origin there, Bharati and Maitri. So what exactly we did was in collaboration with Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences, we developed from clinical protocols for people who are going for an Antarctica expedition. We developed two separate modules, one for basically seasickness because they travel for 1.5 months. And the second one was for staying in Antarctica. This for the first time, yoga was done on Antarctica glacier and all the researchers practiced yoga. Results were really amazing. And that shows how important it is because that study demonstrated that there is a particular gene called carotene gene, which was probably forgotten because our body has got adapted to this protected environment. When you live in an extreme condition like that, such genes have to be upregulated. And yoga practitioners actually demonstrated that their carotene gene was upregulated, and probably that is one which actually regulates your hair and skin. So probably when you stay in a cold environment like that, you need to have that protective layer which has been empowered by that carotene gene. So far we have a little more than 800 publications in the world on yoga, and out of which, no surprises, USA has got maximum number of publications. 38% comes from US, but India is not too far behind. 19% of this research work comes from India, and many other countries have also contributed. So this one publication where the yoga publications from different countries are listed. Smallest countries like some European countries, etc., also have contributed to yoga research. And you will be very happy to hear that Vyasa University has contributed little more than 12% of this world literature. We have published little more than 750 papers, which out of these 7,000 publications, which amounts to a decent contribution from India as well. And these contributions come not just from Vyasa. We selected a group of researchers, but from our amazing collaborators. We collaborate with various these international universities, and each one of these publications, somewhere we have a contribution from any of these. So I just wanted to acknowledge these universities, like from UK, the Manchester University, where we do a lot of biomechanics work, College of Medicine, London, diabetes related work. Once again, Nottingham University, we just completed a study on yoga understanding the feasibility in introducing yoga to rural population with diabetes in India. So, of course, the University of College in London has a very strong research work going on into yoga, and we collaborate with them. In China, Yunnan Minzu University has started a school, and Vyasa collaborates with them for all their masters and doctoral work. And Shanghai University of Sport is one more area where we collaborate for using yoga to prevent sports injuries as well as improving performance of sports personnel. It is not limited to this. As I was mentioning earlier, MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas is one of the biggest cancer hospitals doing yoga research. For the first time, NIH has given $4.5 million to do yoga-based research in MD Anderson with Vyasa, and we have completed the study, amazing results demonstrating the beneficial effects of yoga. And the University of California, San Francisco, where we have our work on molecular biology, looking at how yoga can reduce DNA damage and facilitate DNA repair mechanism. Harvard Med School, University of Florida, and MIT. So we conduct every year an international conference at Harvard Med School, which is an official Vyasa collaborative conference. And this is to bring in integrative medicine. And we also bring in Ayurveda very strongly. Hope the COVID issue settles down. And I would love to invite most of you for the next conference, which will be held at Harvard in Boston. We are also working on lots of wearables and yoga-based products with the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston. We work with both D-Lab as well as Media Lab, and Dr. Rich Fletcher, whom you see here, and his students work in, I'm very proud to say that they visit frequently, and at least 2 MIT students work in our research laboratory at Vyasa. That's the kind of infrastructure what has been created here. And of course, there are several other countries and several universities with whom we are working. This is our research laboratory for you, which has made this possible, where we have molecular bioscience, cognitive neuroscience, psychology, psychophysiology, and bioenergy. And this place has been blessed by many of the people, like our Honorable President of India, who was here, and he takes stock of yoga research very strongly. And of course, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who gave International Day of Yoga to the world. and he has been an inspiration for us. He has been following our yoga research, and Nagendraji, our founder, advises him with respect to yoga. And he not only not only understands, but also talks about yoga research and science of yoga extensively. We work with most of the well-known yoga institutions like Isha Foundation, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. We collaborate, and we have studied their how exactly meditation can influence sleep architecture in Isha meditators. Similarly, we work with Art of Living Foundation, and to understand how intuition can actually be measured using functional near-infrared spectroscopy. This is one special project with Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji. We are doing, of course, Swami Ramdev ji has been one of the biggest supporters of yoga across the country, and yoga research. Dr. Shirley Tellers, who heads Patanjali Yoga Research Foundation, has also been instrumental in establishing research laboratories here. And the whole team, what you see here, are the contributors for all the research work, what I was talking about. And many other people, not only from Indian origin, but across the world visit here. I don't have time to explain this amazing support system and interest what people have on yoga research, be it presidents of many associations, be it neurology, diabetes, and others, and other people, political or scientific or spiritual masters from across the world have visited, and they promote yoga research very strongly. With this, I have come to the last part. We have taken this university being run on the principles of Swami Vivekananda. For research also, we have a motto given from Swami Vivekananda. So which says that take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, and live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. That is the way great spiritual giants are produced. So I'm sure there cannot be better definition for a yoga, for a research student to adopt before you get into research. So with this, I thank the organizers for giving an amazing opportunity to share some knowledge, some documentation, what we have done over a period of a few years. And thanks to all the participants for really picking up yoga research as probably one of the areas to add on to your medical practice. I know that there could be probably many Ayurveda practitioners here, and interns and students. And I promise you that it's a very, very promising area. Okay, so you bring Ayurveda research along with yoga research, and you will have an amazing career. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I should say it was not a small contribution, rather lecture, but it was a huge database you provided us with all the studies which has been conducted at your center as well as internationally done. And I'm sure you have opened new pathways for research among the students who are here, especially the PG scholars who are looking up for new research. And I have to mention this, sir. I'm sure you have enjoyed your presentation a lot. I was able to make it up with the smile you maintained all through. Thank you, sir. And you have set up an example for all the PGs and interns who are here, who will be, giving presentations at different places online. So how to showcase ourselves. Thank you, sir. And I also have to mention that you gave a caution in between, that you have to be very careful when you give a conclusion, and it will not be on your work, it will be on yoga, and you'll be concluding it on yoga. And I'm sure it applies for all the different sciences in which people are doing research. Thanks a lot for all the huge presentation, huge wonderful lecture you gave to us. You made us eyes bigger and look at your presentation and with your eyes wide open and hear your presentation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Can we take a few questions, sir? There are a few. Sir, what is the effect of yoga meditation on happy messengers like serotonin? Effect of yoga and meditation on happy messengers, that is serotonin and ACH and all that.
Some work has been done, definitely looking at particularly meditation. A lot of studies are available on meditation in particular, but also in some medical conditions when yoga was given. So it is very clear, demonstrating that even one session of yoga can actually produce such happiness messengers. So it also demonstrated that, like, not always you need some stimulating hormone or anything like that. Sometimes you also need inhibiting hormones. So one study demonstrated that one session of yoga increased GABA levels, gamma aminobutyric acid levels. So it is important that inhibition happens, your happiness goes up. You have you regulate range of disturbing stimulus, your happiness goes up. So certainly chemically mediated yoga has an impact, meditation has an impact.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from our staff here. Is there any scale generated to assess the effects of meditation?
See, I mean, it depends on what exactly you want to measure. If you really want to measure something about an individual's well-being, then there is a scale. If you want to measure somebody's relaxation levels, there is a scale. You want to measure reduction in stress levels, there is a scale. So it depends totally on what exactly you want to measure. But what is not there is a scale to suggest how far you have progressed in meditation. So if somebody says that you just tick 1, 2, 3, 4, it will tell you you are in deep meditation. Unfortunately, it is not there.
Thank you, sir. Sir, related to the present pandemic, are there any works done related to COVID in relation to yoga or any other work?
A lot of work is going on. I mean, we have been involved with COVID work. We have published at least around 2 articles, which I can share with the organizers, which they can send it to others. And we are working with multiple hospitals at this point of time, giving yoga, both in person as well as in tele mode. Like we just play this in one government hospital and in a couple of private hospitals and a couple of COVID isolation centers. It's all this is happening and results are very, very promising. We have also worked and developed a technique called yogic ventilatory technique. See, we all got so worried about feeling that there is no oxygen in the air. Okay, so very simple, deep abdominal breathing can increase your oxygen saturation. People have also demonstrated when you lie down prone on your abdomen and breathe, what exactly it does is it actually, when you are exhaling, it pushes the abdomen in. So, okay, so when you do this deep exhalation and natural inhalation, so the oxygen saturation goes up. So we have just come, we are in writing up a phase of that publication on yogic ventilatory technique. Also, we are measuring lots of things in COVID patients. Like we are trying to understand, is there a specific pathway through which yoga can actually uphold the immune response? So we are looking at few genetic pathways in COVID patients, giving yoga as an intervention. So many studies are going on.
Actually, you answered my next question also, sir. I wanted to ask you some inputs on if someone is thinking for the next study on yoga and COVID, you also answered that question to me.
But there is, I mean, the scope is too huge. Okay. The next thing what somebody interested should pick up is COVID rehabilitation, post-COVID rehabilitation. So not only for COVID patients, but families, those who are affected because of COVID. We have lost many family members. Many families are touched upon. So there are many other areas which you can focus on.
Thank you, sir. With this, we come to the end of morning session, and I request Dr. Principal, Dr. Sarveshwarkar, to please. Sir, please.
Sir, thank you very much for the inspirational knowledge you have shared. For post-COVID also, thank you very much. For post-COVID also, we had we have a center here in our Jssamc Medical College, which was inaugurated by Dr. Sudhakar. He was the minister in November. We have inaugurated. Work is going on, and also personally, also I have a project in the Ayush and also in the university. We are working for the post-COVID rehabilitations. Putting some few drugs, that is Ashwagandha and haldi, and a compound haldi. It's not alone haldi, turmeric. It's a compound turmeric preparations. That work is going on, sir. There are two projects we are working now. One at ICE level, one at university level, sir. Our own university, that's Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences. These two projects is going on, sir. And apart from that, yeah, it is COVID-19 is mutation is going on. It is its own way, and that all vaccination also. There are a lot of news is coming. Whether this is enough, the question is coming, and that could be this is enough by yogasana, as I think. That's the only answer we should say at this moment. And body is going to fit anyway to the asanas or meditation what you are really preaching and training to us. Thank you very much for this session of your knowledge and wisdom, sir. And we appreciate you wholeheartedly. And I hope that our, including me, all our knowledge seekers, they have gained a lot out of this. And they are also request all these knowledge seekers, they should see that this knowledge is going to transfer to the next generation, sir. With these few words, once again, thank you to you, sir. Our wholehearted gratitude to you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this
and
opportunity.
Yesterday also, we are proud to share with you. We are Ramkrishnaji, Vice Chancellor. He has also inaugurated one more program that we are doing now, online training course for the add-on program to our first year students. Because first year students, they are not come across that Swasthavath and Yoga. That's in the second year syllabus. So now we are giving 20 hours add-on classes. So Dr. Sudhakar Reddy and his team, our everyday 1.5 hour class is also going on, a live demo to our students. That's also we started yesterday. Our Honorable B.R. Ramkrishnaji was the chief guest for the program yesterday. Thank you very
nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I now request the organizing secretary to please conclude the morning session.
Namaskar, Arpan Bhattji. So thank you for your valuable time sparing and sharing your knowledge to our learning students. And it was very excellent presentation, Arpan Bhattji. आपका वो जो प्रेजेंटेशन था सबको पसंद लगा है और आपका एक्सपीरियंस
पसंद लगा है
नहीं आपका एक्सपीरियंस जो है सर वो तो आपको सबको शेयर हो गया इसके लिए मैं आपको बुलाया था सर तो जो स्वस्थता में जो सीनियर मोस्ट पर्सन है आप ऐसा है इसलिए आप टीम के बारे में मैं आपको पूछा था इट वाज एक्सीलेंट प्रेजेंटेशन सर थैंक यू वेरी मच सर इन एवरी शेड्यूल यू हैव मेड अस सक्सेसफुल सेमिनार टुडे and Dr. Manoj sir, when I asked you, you are very busy schedule. Even though it's very busy schedule, you address us. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing updated knowledge from pediatric to geriatrics, you can say, and even COVID-19 pandemic also, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of morning sessions. We'll have a short break and join you all soon by 2 o'clock. Thank you all. Thank you, Arpan sir. Thank you, Manjunath sir.